Okay, guys. So let's get started without any further ado. I think the others will be joining shortly. Before we get started, a quick formal introduction on my end. My name is Mohammed Shoaib. I'll be your cybersecurity trainer for the entire duration of the course. I've been working in this domain of cybersecurity for the last 6 years or so, and I've been training students for the last 5 years, again, with DURGASOFT and a few other institutes across India. And the demo that we're taking up today is on this course called Certified Ethical Hacking V13, the latest version running currently. Okay, this is a course for again people who want to get into cybersecurity domain and who have no clue what cybersecurity is, or if they want to refresh what cybersecurity is, if they've already done a version of CEH. Okay, this trains you on understanding how to perform an operation called penetration testing. That is something which is very commonly performed by ethical hackers. Okay, and again, to show you what this course looks like and the contents of it, I can visit the official website ecouncil.org. This is the website or the organization, I would say, which created this course called CEH. Okay, this is based in California, United States, and again, a globally known organization for training and certifications, specifically in the domain of cybersecurity itself. Okay, and the course that we are learning right now, the first step into cybersecurity is Certified Ethical Hacker, currently running version 13. Okay, scrolling down much further a bit, we can see the exact modules that will be covering will be following the same exact course outline as mentioned in the official EC Council webpage. Okay. So one more important point to note here is again, again we'll have the same course outline, the same learning framework, nothing else. Okay, and we'll be ready to apply for these job roles. Okay. Now, might seem a bit gibberish by the end of this course. I'm going to explain what these job roles are as well. Okay. So let's get started with the demo. Let me explain what the course is about and what topics we'll be learning, what tools we'll be working with in the upcoming days. And yeah, that's going to be a brief demo on what the entire, again, courses. Okay. So let's start the demo with the definition of this course's name itself. So what is hacking and what is ethical hacking? Because a lot of students have a misconception that it is one and the same. Okay, so let's clarify and understand the difference between these two terminologies. Okay. So firstly, when we talk about hacking, this is basically the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems. What I mean by that phrase, gaining access to information systems, is if I were a cyber criminal, if I were a hacker, I would try to get access or remote connection to your devices, whether it be your mobile phone, your laptop, or your organization's cloud network as well. I would try to get access to that infrastructure or those devices without your consent, okay, and without your knowledge. So once I've gotten access, I can remotely exfiltrate data, which is basically download your data. Okay, I can remotely modify or delete your data as well. I can install malicious applications in your organization. Okay, and all of this is done without your consent, without your knowledge. Okay, and for the hacker's benefit. Okay, so to read out the definition again, hacking is the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems, which could be anything as small as a mobile phone to as big as a database or a web application server. And this is done without the permission and without knowledge of the organization or the person owning those devices. Okay. And this is usually performed by hackers for their own benefit, for financial gains. And sometimes hackers are so mischievous, they can even do it just for the thrill of it, just for fun. Okay. Just to have that sense that they can beat any security in the world and get access to any device they want to. Okay. Now, if hacking is such a criminal or an illegal activity, why do we have a course called ethical hacking? And how is this getting ethical in the first place? How is this legal? To define ethical hacking, on the other hand, this is the procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities. This terminology called vulnerability is something that we as cybersecurity professionals come across every single day. Okay. To define a vulnerability, it's a loophole, it's a flaw in the security or the configuration of information systems. Okay. And these loopholes, these security flaws are what allow cyber criminals to get access to your devices. So your job as an ethical hacker is to find these loopholes in the information systems, in the infrastructure of the organization, with the consent and with the knowledge of the organization itself. So you work hand in hand with the organization, the company allows you to test all their security, again, the security of their organization and their devices, so that you can find these vulnerabilities. And once these vulnerabilities are found, you report it back to the company. You generate a proper report showing them how you found the vulnerabilities, what are the remediation steps to take to remove those vulnerabilities as well. Okay. And once that is done, the company will patch up the vulnerabilities and prevent any further cyber threats or cyber harm. Okay. So to read out the definition one last time, ethical hacking is the procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities or loopholes in information systems. And this is done with the consent and with the knowledge of the organization or the person owning those systems. Okay. And another important point, guys, if you have any questions or doubts up to this point, please feel free to interrupt at any point and ask your questions. I do not mind any interruptions. Okay. And another important point, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt at any point and ask your questions. I do not mind any interruptions at all. Okay. So I don't know. Yeah, I think there's an option of raising a hand as well, or you can directly just drop a text or use your voice to convey your queries. Okay. Any questions or doubts up to this point? Adarsh, Sanjana, Sudhakar, Vishal. I hope.
Good.
Okay. I hope the audio is fine. I hope the video is visible. I hope there are no issues with the meeting, with the quality
Yeah.
of the. Right. Perfect. Okay, moving on. Depending on these definitions of hacking and ethical hacking, we can categorize the types of hackers. So there's three categories broadly, which is known as again, which are known as white hat hackers, gray hat hackers, and black hat hackers. Your black hat hackers are typical cyber criminals who perform hacking for their own benefit without asking for consent. On the other end of the spectrum, again, your black hat hackers are cyber criminals. And on the other end, you have white hat hackers, the cyber professionals. These are people who abide by the laws and policies of the company, and they work for securing the company's again information and their devices. Also commonly known as ethical hackers or penetration testers. And in between, there's a third mysterious category called as grey hat hackers. Now, these are basically people who have both the qualities of a black hat as well as a white hat. Like a black hat hacker, they don't ask for permission first, but once they find the vulnerability, they report it back to the company like a white hat hacker. But there's always a minor catch. The catch here is they don't do this for free, obviously. They do it in return for a bounty. A bounty is a financial reward they expect in return for reporting that vulnerability rather than misusing it. So they're working both offensively and defensively, depending on the situation there, and hence they're called as grey hat hackers. Something like freelance ethical hackers itself, which are much commonly known as bug bounty hunters. They're hunting for bugs in organizations and in their platforms or on their websites in return for a bounty, a financial reward. Hence the name bug bounty hunters. Okay. And no matter what category of a hacker you take here, black hat hackers or grey hat hackers or white hat hackers, all of these are professionals who perform hacking or ethical hacking in the same exact procedure, which is called as cyber kill chain. Some organizations also refer to this as hacking cycle. This was built by the US military in the late 1960s also. Okay, cyber kill chain. And again, this is the same procedure they use to perform their military operations, which got transcended into the cyber security operations as well. So this is a procedure that hackers follow in order to perform a successful cyber attack. And the knowledge of this procedure also allows cybersecurity professionals to replicate the same steps and understand what vulnerabilities are existing in the organization. So they can use the same replicated methods to detect the vulnerabilities, prevent them at every level in the organization, and basically imply the sorry, apply the security measures as well. Okay, so from this definition, you can understand that the procedure to hack or defend is very similar because unless and until you know what kind of hacks are possible, what kind of attacks are possible, you would not know what to defend against. Okay, so you basically simulate the same exact attacks as a real world attacker to understand how vulnerable the organization is. Okay, but the only difference is you're not going to misuse that information that you obtain. Okay, you try to make the company understand this is what the vulnerability is, and you try to give them the solutions to prevent the attacks in real time. Okay, so the cyber kill chain, which was defined as mentioned by the military organizations, has not changed over the years. Although the types of attacks have changed, the core procedure still remains the same. And the cyber kill chain consists of 5 important steps in it. So the first stage we have here is called as information gathering. Second stage is called as scanning. Third stage is gaining access. Fourth stage is maintaining access. And the last stage is reporting or clearing traces. So if you carefully observe, only the last stage has two different terminologies, reporting or clearing traces. As mentioned already, the procedure to perform hacking or ethical hacking is very similar. First 4 steps are exactly similar for any kind of a hacker. There's no change. What varies is only the end result. If you're an ethical hacker, you report the vulnerabilities back. On the other hand, if you're a cyber criminal, you remove the evidence of your actions, which is clearing traces. Now, don't worry, I'm going to explain each of these steps now, one by one, in a little detail so you understand what the course curriculum is. Again, what tools we'll be working on. Okay. So, firstly, moving on to information gathering. Before that, any questions or doubts? Any queries? Anyone?
Yeah, Shoaib, I have a question.
Yes. Please go ahead. Yes, Sudhakar,
Uh,
I can hear you.
yeah, so is it related to any AI field or cloud technologies? It will also include?
Yeah, we're going to find vulnerabilities related to AI as well. There are AI chatbot vulnerabilities which are leaking information. So, with this latest version of CH version 13, they've included AI.
Mhm.
Cloud security has already been included since a lot of earlier versions itself. Since CH version 9, version 10, 11, 12, all of them have included cloud security, a part of it. Okay. And AI has been implemented from this year. How to test for vulnerabilities in AI models or chatbots which are using AI, how to check if they are leaking information, what are the tools to use for that. So that has been included from this specific year. Sorry, I forgot the
So,
name.
which cloud platform are
Sudhakar,
you using? Yeah,
right? Sorry.
yeah. Which cloud platform are you using for this course?
Again, you have multiple tools. Again, tools like burpsuit to perform fuzzing, tools like Metasploit framework, tools like Tenable Nessus to find vulnerabilities in AI and LLMs. These are all the tools we'll be working
No,
on.
no. We have different cloud platforms, right? AWS,
Oh, you're talking about
Azure.
cloud? Yeah, AWS, Azure,
Yeah, yeah.
Microsoft Azure, and
Okay.
AWS for cloud security. When we're talking about AI tools testing, we're talking about Tenable Nessus, burpsuit for performing the fuzzing and
Mhm.
finding automated vulnerabilities.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Any other questions, Sudhakar?
So after completion of this course, what kind of job roles does we serve?
Yeah, as mentioned already in the beginning, these are all the job roles. I'll be coming to this in a while. I
Okay.
think you have joined maybe slightly a minute or two late. This is the list of job roles that we can actually apply for. I'll be coming back to this in a minute.
Yeah, yeah. I saw this slide, but again, I have some doubt, like what kind of
Sure.
job we
I'll
can
explain. No worries, Sudhakar. The only thing
use.
is, as mentioned, this is all about a course learning how to test the security of every single endpoint. So the most important job roles you would apply for is cybersecurity engineer or penetration testers or security administrators or security engineers. Those are the main important job roles you find in India. And in other countries, there's a lot of other, variations as well, but this is the entire list here actually. Okay, but to primarily focus, we'll be applying for penetration testers, network pen testers, or web application pen testers, or cloud pen testers, to be precise.
Oh, okay. So, what is AI security engineer and AI penetration test?
Finding vulnerabilities in the AI models and LLMs.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so don't worry,
Yeah,
we'll come to
yeah.
that as well. Sure, right.
Sure, sure.
So
Yeah.
moving on. So when we talk about the first phase, which is information gathering, now this is also commonly known as reconnaissance or footprinting, as displayed here. And the main objective of information gathering here is to gather as much data as possible about the target organization. So the first stage itself involves you researching or trying to get as much information as possible about the organization. And an important point to note here is all of this data is obtained passively. What I mean by passively is you're not contacting the organization in any way, you're not making direct contact with them. You're trying to obtain the information from third party sources, from various websites on the internet. But the main question that arises is what kind of data are we trying to research here? And this here is the list of information we need. We need to obtain IP addresses, network blocks, whois records, DNS records, domains, subdomains, operating system information, employee details, contact numbers of the employees, email addresses of the employees, and usernames and passwords of these employees as well, which might have been leaked online in various data breaches. Now, might seem again not so easily digestible, but yeah, this information is readily available on the internet. The only thing is you need to know what those resources are, what those gold mines are from where you can obtain this data. Okay, and I know some of these pieces of information might sound a bit gibberish today, but don't worry. As we progress with our classes, you'll understand what each of these pieces of information is and how it helps cyber criminals or penetration testers to find further vulnerabilities. To show small again a practical on how to perform information gathering, let's say we wanted to get the DNS records for an organization. A brief intro on DNS records: it is basically the linking between every domain and its corresponding IP address. Okay, so every server on the internet has an identity. Okay, that is called an IP address. Okay, all the traffic on the internet flows with IP addresses itself. Okay, for our understanding, we recognize websites with their domain name, but the internet traffic recognizes these servers with IP addresses. Okay, and your DNS server performs that linking between a domain name and that IP. Okay, and to get these DNS records for any organization, you can open up a browser and you can search for this website called DNS Dumpster, a very popular website in the cybersecurity circles, completely open source, and you can enter any domain of your choice. Let's say if we go for a popular domain like Tesla, let's say, and if I hit enter, these are all the DNS records of Tesla. Scroll down further, you can see the geolocation of where Tesla servers are mostly located. Scroll down here, and these are all the websites of Tesla hosted on separate web servers, and these are the exact IP addresses of those servers. For a penetration tester or for a hacker as well, these IPs are very crucial because this is what he would be performing scanning on. Okay, this is the exact address or the identity for that server hosting that specific website. These are all the web servers. Scroll down much further. You have MX records, which are the mail servers. So Tesla is using Outlook for their mail, and this is the exact IP for that server through which all mails are being redirected. And these are the DNS server records. So currently Tesla has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 DNS servers. And these 7 servers are containing all of these pieces of information all around the world. Okay. So as a penetration tester, depending on the scope or depending on the company's requirements, you'll be testing all of these servers for vulnerabilities. So these are the IPs which would be used in the upcoming stages, which is scanning. Okay, so important point to note is whatever information you obtain in the first phase, that output will be the input for the next phase, which is scanning. Okay, similarly, there are other websites from where we can get all the other pieces of information as well. Okay, the who's records, the domains and subdomains, operating system information for those servers, contact numbers, email addresses of the employees, and usernames and passwords. Okay, trust me, it seems a bit unbelievable, but all of this information is readily available on the internet. Okay, so moving on. After information gathering is done, once you have obtained all the data and stored it in a proper report or an Excel file, that data is utilized in the next phase, which is called as scanning. So this is also commonly known as enumeration. And the main objective here is to make active connections. So earlier, we got the data passively from third-party sources. Here, we use that data now to make direct connections with the organization and obtain some more information. Okay. So trying to gather extra information on the target by making active and aggressive connections to find the vulnerabilities is called as scanning. To understand it much better, we can actually divide or segregate scanning in 3 parts. There's something called as network scanning, there's something called as port scanning, and then there's something called as vulnerability scanning. Okay. Network scanning is where you're trying to figure out in their internal organization what kind of devices exist. Are they using firewalls? Are they using IDS, IPS, intrusion detection systems or intrusion prevention systems? What switches are they using? What routers are they using? What servers are they using? Do they have web servers, again, on-premise web servers located? Do they have DNS servers? Do they have DHCP servers? Do they have FTP servers, like SNMP servers? What kind of devices exist in their organization? Getting that network topology itself is network scanning. Once you know what devices exist in the organization, Then you perform something called port scanning, figuring out on each of those devices what ports are open and what services or what applications are running on those devices with what exact versions. And once you know what services or applications are running, finally you perform something called vulnerability scanning to figure out what vulnerabilities exist on these devices, on those services, which can be attacked or exploited. During this phase, we'll be working on two very important tools. One is a tool called Nmap, a tool which has been there since 1997, to be precise, and still used in every organization. And completely open source, completely free for anyone to use, one of the best network and port scanners. And the source code of this application is used on a lot of commercial tools as well. Okay, this is one tool to perform network and port scanning. And the other one to perform vulnerability scanning is Enable Nessus. Now, this is not open source in any way, kind of an expensive tool actually. So if you scroll down, you can see this is around $7,500. And that too, that's only for 1 year subscription. Every year, the company needs to pay that amount to register and use this tool. Okay. And we'll be working on the same exact tool in our upcoming sessions. This is the same tool that is used in our organization as well. Just to show you what it looks like. This is your Nessus, Tenable Nessus vulnerability scanner, capable of performing vulnerability scans, web application scans, AI scans on language models, etc., etc. This will generate an automated report for you telling you what system contains what kind of vulnerabilities, and generates, the complete solution for it as well. But we as penetration testers have to verify every vulnerability shown here. So this gives you, again, this does half the job, gives you a proper report telling you this system contains this vulnerability and this is what the solution can be implemented to remove that vulnerability. But again, you can't blindly trust a report. That's half the job done. You verify for true negatives or false positives both. Okay, so that is where comes the next phase, which is gaining access. Okay, so these are all the vulnerabilities. All the vulnerabilities are categorized in different levels of impact: critical vulnerabilities, high, medium, low, and information based. And we verify each of these vulnerabilities in the upcoming phase. Oh, I think someone asked a question. How will we have access to Nessus? Good question, Adarsh. Again, luckily for us, Nessus has a trial version. So you can access Nessus through the trial as well. Okay. So once you work in the organization, the company will provide the tool anyhow. But to learn and run how to, basically learn how to run the tool, we have the trial version access to it. Okay. Exactly, Adarsh.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, sir.
The tools, guys. Some tools might not give you trial version access as well. So for such ones, I'll provide the cracked versions. For whichever tool we again, which provides a trial, will work on the trial. And almost 70% of them are open source itself. Okay, so there's 10% of the tools which we might not have access to trial as well. For such ones, I'll give you the again the cracked version, which is completely safe, because we need to know how to run these tools in real time before you apply for interviews in cybersecurity. Okay. So yeah, any other questions, guys, up to this point?
Yeah,
Adarsh,
so,
Karthik.
I have tried installing Nessus earlier with the trial version also used to face some issues. So now I think, I mean, the email addresses they were asking for the company email addresses.
Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to bypass all that. Nothing to worry, Adarsh.
Okay.
Okay, there are methods to bypass.
And will we get the recordings of this session?
Yeah, yeah. Every single session will be recorded. Every single session has a notes already prepared. The presentation files, the notepad document files, the recordings, everything will be shared to your registered email once you register for the course. Mhm. So whatever email you
As
receive, please
any
note
time?
that that email is important and it's your again your primary email, because on that Google Drive you'll be getting all the content. Yeah, Adarsh, you were saying
Yeah, so it's available for a year or two, or how is
one
it?
year, 1 year validity for all the
Okay.
recordings.
Okay.
Right. Um, any other questions, guys? Up to this point, Karthik, Sanjana, Sudhakar, Vishal.
Uh, yes, I have a question. So, like cybersecurity has a lot of other modules, right? Like cryptography and like you have identity and access management as well, for authentication and authorization purpose. So uh, why we are mainly focusing on this module? So is it like the uh, one which is getting us more jobs these days,
This is
or?
the good question. I'm so sorry about that. Vishal, right? Right, Vishal.
Right.
So again, if you notice, this is the official website EC Council, and these are all the courses that are available in cybersecurity. What we are right now is at the first stage, certified ethical hacking, understanding basically what cybersecurity is, what threats are possible in an organization, okay, in real time, and how do you mitigate or remove those threat possibilities. Okay. So after again, and this cybersecurity as a whole is divided in two segments. There's something called SOC and there's something called NOC. Okay. Job opportunities are equal in any of these segregations. Okay. But this course primarily focuses on more of NOC and some part of SOC. Okay. NOC is where you're performing pen testing, basically finding vulnerabilities in every single endpoint or applications, okay, and remediating those. SOC, on the other hand, Security Operations Center, is you constantly monitoring for vulnerabilities or threats occurring, okay, incoming threats, outgoing threats, okay, DOS attacks, okay, using tools like SIM tools, okay, identity management, okay, all that is handled in SOC, okay. So these are two different, yeah.
Okay, understood. Like, see, as a layman, for me, I was starting my journey in cybersecurity. So, like, which module do you suggest, like, will be good to start with? Is it
Yeah, the
like,
one which you are learning right now, CH, because you need to understand what kind of vulnerabilities are possible in the first place. Okay. What is the, again, what are the fundamentals of what is a vulnerability? What is an exploit? What is a payload? What are the tools used in cybersecurity? So, from the very scratch, what we learn, again, that is shown in the CH course. After that is done, then you have your specializations. Threat management, identity management, or SOC, or digital forensics, blockchain security, cloud security, mobile security. The CH
application?
explains everything up to intermediate level. After that intermediate level, then you choose one specialization, okay, and then focus on that. Okay. So CH is like a master of none, jack of all kind of a trade deal. Okay. You learn every single pen testing on network pen testing, mobile pen testing, web application pen testing. You learn what SIM tools are. Okay. And you also learn AI vulnerabilities, everything. After that is done, that is what again a pen tester needs to know initially in their initial days of cybersecurity. And after some years of experience, you choose one domain and you specialize in that. Okay, you either go full fledged in web security, or you go full fledged in cloud security, or go full fledged in cyber forensics, or towards identity management and threat management, threat vulnerability management, etc., etc. Okay, so for a layman, you need to know what are the vulnerabilities existing on every single endpoint, every single application. Then you choose one specialization. Okay, just like a doctor, maybe I would say. I think that's a good comparison. First 5 years of MBBS and then one specialization. Same thing here as well.
No. Yeah, thank you.
I hope I've clarified the question for everyone. Any questions or doubts? No.
No,
Okay,
no,
Vishal,
that's,
it's clear, right?
yes, now it's clear.
Okay, perfect. Moving on. So yeah, where was I? Yeah, we were talking about scanning. So once vulnerability scanning is done, then we have the next phase, which is the gaining access module. This is the phase where the real hacking occurs. So attackers now use the vulnerabilities that they found in the earlier phases, and now they can try attacking a certain application or a certain system, or they can try getting access to the entire network as well. Okay, so this is the core of the subject, guys. This is where we come across a lot of different modules, as you can see. Now, might be tough to explain all of this in detail in one single session. So I'm going to briefly explain each of these topics one by one. Okay. So first we have system hacking. How do you attack any Windows or Linux operating systems? Okay. So basically, how can you crack or bypass their passwords? So if you are, again, if an attacker has hacked your system, he would steal your data and he might try to lock you out. In such a case, you need to know how to bypass that authentication and get back access to your data. So how do you get access? By cracking the password. If you're unable to crack it, how can you bypass authentication and still get access to your data? That's what we learn in system hacking. Then comes malware attacks. 85% of cyber threats today are happening through malware itself. When you talk about malware, it's a word joined from two different terminologies, malicious softwares. And there are tons of categories of malwares. Most important ones are viruses, worms, trojans, spyware, rootkit, adware, etc., etc. We'll practically learn how do you create malwares, how do you defend your system from malwares, and how do you detect them if they're already installed in your system without your knowledge. Okay. Then there's malware advanced. Again, this is a bonus concept, guys. Frankly speaking, this course has no requirement for programming. If that is a question someone had to ask, okay, there is no requirement for programming languages for this course. Okay. But there is a bonus concept. If you are already familiar with Python, I'll be sharing the resources on how to write malwares with Python. Okay. Then comes network penetration testing. What are the common vulnerabilities and attacks possible in a network? Attacks like sniffing attack, man-in-the-middle attack, denial of service attack, or distributed denial of service attack. How do you hack Wi-Fi routers, crack password for Wi-Fi routers? All of these are attacks commonly possible in local networks. Okay. Using these attacks, you can capture others' data in a network. You can shut down remote servers by overloading them with traffic. Okay. You can crack the Wi-Fi passwords and get access to others' networks without authorization. Okay. All of this is related to network pen testing. Then comes social engineering. Again, this is also a very common attack in today's world, which is basically the reason for cyber frauds. How do hackers create exact replicas of websites, any website for that matter? Social media websites, banking, bank login pages, your employee login pages. How do hackers create exact replicas of these websites? And how do they trick victims into giving out their credentials? So these attacks can occur over an SMS message. These attacks can occur over a phone call. And more predominantly in organizations, it occurs through emails, which is called as phishing. Okay, so we'll practically learn how these attacks are occurring in real time. Okay, and how do you verify whether the page you see is genuine or fake? What are the key factors to look for? How do you distinguish between the genuine page and the fake page? Okay, as from a cybersecurity perspective, we'll cover that. Okay. Then comes hacking web servers and web applications. Okay, the face of the organization on the internet is their website, and your websites usually contain vulnerabilities on them. Okay, vulnerabilities like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, file upload vulnerability. So during this module, we'll be working on a very important tool called burp suit. No matter what job description you check for, this tool will definitely be mentioned there. Okay, so we'll practically learn what burp suit is. It's a web-based proxy. It allows you to capture every single request from your browser, check the request, check for vulnerabilities, modify the request, and bypass certain security measures. Okay, so we'll learn what burp suit is, we'll learn how to run this, again, find vulnerabilities in web applications. Okay, and again, as mentioned, there are vulnerabilities like SQL injection, etc., etc. Now, just to show you a very simple example, the other day I did find a vulnerability in a certain logistics page. So let's say there's this website called Starcon, called some Taiwanese website for logistics. And there's an admin login. Now, unless and until I know the credentials for this, I shouldn't be allowed to log in over here, right? So I don't know what the credentials are. But if the page is vulnerable to SQLite, I can just enter a malicious SQL payload here and paste it here. And this allows me to bypass authentication and log in as admin. That shouldn't have occurred. So that is called as SQL injection, where you can bypass, again, inject malicious SQL payloads or SQL queries like this and bypass authentication, or modify the database, or in some cases, delete the entire database as well. Okay, so that's what web application vulnerabilities look like. A very small example, we'll be learning much more practical, much more in-depth attacks, okay, much more complex attacks. Okay, so again, these are vulnerabilities which exist on websites. Then we have evading techniques. If an organization has security measures like firewalls, intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems, just having those measures is not good enough. Having them configured right is what matters the most. Okay, so if they're not configured right, hackers can easily bypass these measures. Okay, so we'll practically learn how do you bypass these security measures, what misconfigurations are you supposed to look for, and how do you rectify those. And finally, there's vulnerability assessment, where we learn what are the vulnerabilities to assess. Okay, so once you get a report like this from 10 ablenesses, you need to know how to verify that report. Okay, you just can't blindly trust the report and give it to the company and say these are the vulnerabilities existing. You have to verify every single vulnerability. So if the report says this is containing a backdoor which allows an attacker to execute code, you have to remotely get connection to that system and execute code and verify. Okay, so from your device, you should be able to execute any code on the remote device. So you have to verify that. Okay, so how do you perform that verification is what vulnerability assessment is. Assessing the vulnerability and verifying that. And for that, we'll be working on a tool called Metasploit framework. No matter what job you apply for in cybersecurity, this is one mandatory tool they'll ask again questions on. Okay, so we'll be working on Metasploit framework as well. Okay, and finally, there's hacking mobile phones, where we learn how to attack Android phones and get remote connections to that. Okay, CEH does not include iPhone hacking, guys. It has been cleverly put in a separate course, but don't worry, I'll provide resources on that as well. So from this, you can understand the main objective for this course, guys. It's about you learning how to attack every single endpoint that could possibly exist in an organization up to intermediate level. So this course is more than sufficient for you to work up to an experience of 3 to 4 years in cybersecurity. After that, you will definitely upgrade and choose one specific specialization. That depends on your choice and your comfort. Okay, so we talk about system security, we talk about malware attacks, we talk about network security, wireless security, web server security on the back end, web application security on the front end, firewall security, and mobile phone security. Every single device, from as small as a mobile phone to as big as a database. Okay, you learn how to attack every single endpoint. That's the objective for the course. And once you have learned how to attack and defend these systems, the next phase is maintaining access. Oh, sorry, before that, any questions or doubts up to this point? Adarsh, Karthik, Sanjana, Sudhakar, Vishal.
Yes.
So,
Yes. So, like you have mentioned about micro learning on the Python side, right? So, will I be requiring knowledge on Python
Not required
to?
for this course, not at all required. That is a separate bonus concept, I would say, Vishal, if you're interested in programming and malware development. If you want to write your own malware in a certain programming language, I'll be sharing the resources for that. For this course, there is no requirement for programming. Okay. Wherever sometimes we might write our own small scripts, okay, to execute malwares. I'll explain that script myself from scratch. Okay. Otherwise, there's no requirement for cybersecurity for
As you
programming in this
mentioned,
specific course.
yeah, as you mentioned, like ongoing and doing some kind of specialization, like application security
Mhm.
side, then I might be requiring this
Then you will
Python.
definitely, if you're working for web application security, let's say, you definitely need knowledge on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and depending on their frameworks, Next.js or Node.js or whatever it is. Okay. But for this course, there's no such requirement. And if you're going towards network security as a specialization, then basic Python is required to automate certain tasks and write scripts. Other than that, there's no more requirement. Okay.
Okay.
Depending on the
And
application that you're testing, it will or might not require coding there.
And regarding the certification, you have mentioned the company portal in California, right? So
Easy class, right?
um, yeah, so this course will enable us to appear for the
Yeah,
certification.
yeah, definitely. That should be one of the main objectives, right, Vishal? So once this course is done, you'll have all the content, you'll have all the knowledge to attempt the certification as well.
Do we get any certification for completing this
The
course?
Institute DurgaSoft will be providing a course completion certificate, Vishal. DurgaSoft is
Oh,
not accredited with EC Council. Okay. But again, I have a test center in Hyderabad itself where if you're planning on writing the certification, there's an accredited test center which you can write the exam in. Okay. DurgaSoft
okay,
only provides a course completion certificate.
okay. Thank you.
Um, any other questions,
hey,
guys?
Shoaib, I have a question.
Hey, Sudhakar, yeah, good.
So, we are not from a computer networking background, Vishal. So, what are the prerequisites to learn this course?
Good question. Again, you're asking the exact questions which I want to answer in a minute, Sudhakar. But again, great questions though. So since people are not from a technical background, we have all the prerequisites included in the course itself. So this is going to be the class tomorrow. Okay, so this will be the demo today, guys. Tomorrow we start the actual course at the same time itself. And the first topic is the prerequisite called networking fundamentals. What is networking? What are IP addresses? Okay, what are properties of an IPv4 address? Okay, what are again, what is the range of IP addresses? What's the first IP? What's the last IP? What is the sequencing of IPs? What are classes? What are public IPs? What are private IPs? We'll learn everything from scratch. Okay. Once this is done, another prerequisite is learning Linux commands. Okay. What is the Linux OS architecture? Okay. How is Linux kernel different from a Windows kernel? And we'll be working on an operating system specifically called Kali Linux. Okay. So we'll learn what are the commands that you can execute in Kali Linux one by one. Okay. So everything from scratch. So again, as mentioned for this course, there's no prerequisites, guys, because everything is included in the course itself. All you need is a working laptop or a desktop with at least 8 gigabits of RAM, because we'll be running something called virtual machines. We'll be running other operating systems in a virtualization software called VMware. So you need at least 8 gigs of RAM for it to run smoothly. Okay. More the RAM, much better. Okay. But 8 is minimum. Okay. 6 is also manageable, but it might be a bit slow. Okay, so 8 is recommended, 6 is manageable. And storage, I would say 50 to 80 gigabytes of free storage for all the tools. This is a very practical, hands-on course, guys. No theory nonsense. Okay, every single class will have, again, except the prerequisites, will have almost 75% practical and 25% theory. First 15 minutes, I'll talk about the theory aspect. The remaining 35 to 45 minutes, we'll talk about the practical aspect. So a working laptop or a desktop is very necessary for this course, and all the resources will be shared, all the tools will be shared. You'll have the exact same setup as mine on your devices. Okay, so that's again talking about the prerequisites. Sudhakar. Okay.
So we do practice on using Nmap, Wireshark, or Metasploit or Burpsuit.
Every single tool in this simulation in the tool called virtualization VMware software. You will have, again, we'll be working on the same exact tools which are used in every organization. Wireshark, Nmap, Metasploit, Burpsuit, Tenable Nessus, Hydra for password tracking, every single tool.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, Sudhakar, any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Coming back to this, guys. So where am I? Oh, where was I? Yeah, here. So yeah, moving on. Then we have the next phase called maintaining access. Okay, so this is where you try to maintain persistent connections with the target. What I mean by that is, let's say if I've hacked your phone or your computer, even if you restart your system, I should not lose connection to it. I should have a persistent connection running even after system reboot. So that's what is called as maintaining access. Okay. We'll be learning how hackers modify again registry settings, or how to hackers install malwares which can auto run on your system even if you restart the device. Okay. And then finally, we have reporting or clearing traces, where we'll be learning as an ethical hacker, how do you generate a report for the organization? How do you elaborate all the vulnerabilities and provide the solutions, okay, to the organization to remove those vulnerabilities? On the other hand, if you're a cyber criminal, you don't report anything, obviously. What you silently try to do is you remove the evidence of your action. So you delete the logs and erase the evidence, and thereby hide your identity and stay untraceable. So that's about, oh, just a second, guys, I'm so sorry. Getting a call from the system. Oh, so sorry about that. Yeah, apologies. As mentioned, that's about clearing traces. And these are the 5 stages of the cyber kill chain, as mentioned. Okay. And as mentioned, every single session is being recorded. You'll be getting the recordings, you'll be getting these presentation documents, you'll be getting the notes. Everything is already prepared. If you want to maintain, you can maintain a running notes on the side, but the notes is already prepared. Okay. And anything else that I'm forgetting to mention? Yeah, the batch is at 7:30 a.m. same time every single day. Uh, 1 hour classes, as mentioned already. Every day we have session from 7:30 to 8:30, and 35 days of duration. Okay, Monday to Friday, no class on the weekends. Okay, and for payment related queries, please contact the institute. The price is 10,000, but again, further details on payment will be shared by the institute. I think you can pay in 2 installments if I'm not wrong, but please confirm with the institute once. Okay,
So it's 35 duration, right?
35 to
35
40
days.
hours. Yeah, Sudhakar.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, again, as mentioned, if anyone has any queries regarding the tools, as mentioned one more time, Tenable Nessus, definitely. Burp Suit, definitely. Metasploit Framework, definitely. Wireshark, definitely. Okay. More importantly, the Kali OS. Okay. One of the best operating systems available on the internet for penetration testing. We'll be working on this hands-on. Okay. This contains a lot of those tools inbuilt itself. Burp Suit, AirCrack for Wi-Fi hacking, Hydra for password cracking, Metasploit for vulnerability assessment, Nmap for your network and port scanning. As you can see, I have a Kali system running right now in my VMware software. Okay, so this is what Kali looks like. And these are all the operations that you can perform. And for every specific operation, you have the tools neatly divided over here for every operation. Okay, so we'll be working hands-on this operating system here. Okay, yeah.
So I have one more question, one more
Yeah,
last question.
no problem, no problem.
So do you have any other specific tools for AI?
No, again, we'll be performing automated scanning with Tenable Nessus, Sudhakar. Sudhakar, right? Who's asking the question?
Yeah, Sudhakar, yeah.
Okay. And we'll be using burp-suit itself to perform automated fuzzing. So that itself is more than sufficient, up to intermediate level at least, to perform AI testing. Okay. Same set of
Okay,
tools for
sure.
all endpoints, Sudhakar. It shows
Okay.
Douglas is someone else.
Yeah. Me Sudhakar only.
Acha. Okay. Right. Any other questions, guys? Adarsh, Karthik, Sanjana, Vishal? Please do not hesitate, guys, and do let me know. Feedback is important. Did I go too fast? Did I go too slow? Is the pace fine?
The space was
Anything?
fine.
Yeah, demo
Uh,
was good, Shoaib, till
Okay,
now.
thank you, guys. Yeah, Vishal, you see.
yeah, everything looks good. Yeah.
Right, guys. Again, as mentioned, regarding the payment queries, please contact the institute. I am not sure about that. Again, as far as I know, it's 10,000. Okay, but please confirm with the institute regarding the payment and the installments part. Okay. If you have any queries regarding the cyber security part, go ahead. Okay, you can ask me any questions on cyber security. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, we will be creating a WhatsApp group. Okay, so once the batch is formed, every question you have after the sessions can be asked in WhatsApp. Okay, you'll have my personal number. Okay, and we'll create a group. So it's going to be like a community where you can ask questions and clarify doubts amongst each other, and I'll be there to clarify the questions as well. So there'll be again 24/7 access on that group to ask your questions. Okay, and anything else that I'm forgetting? Batch starts at 7:30 tomorrow. Tomorrow itself is the first class. This is the demo, guys. So no more, again, same demo will be repeated. The actual classes itself begin tomorrow. Okay, but those also act like free sessions for you. Okay, to understand how the classes are going on. I think the next two classes are free, and after that you have to register. Okay, to continue further. Okay, so tomorrow's class is going to be on networking fundamentals. A very interesting session. Please do join without fail. Okay, so yeah, that's that. Nothing further. Um, any questions? Any doubts up to this point?
Hi, Shoaib. This is Karthik.
Hey, Karthik.
Yeah, I'm much more interested in application VAPT, like web application VAPT.
I do train that as well, Karthik, but I train that separately. It's not from DURGASOFT. My expertise is web application pen testing itself. So in
Mm,
CEH, we'll be focusing on some vulnerabilities. Okay, there's a separate course called web application pen testing where you focus on OWASP top 10. Okay, but
mm,
again, I'm forming a batch for that currently. If you're interested for that specifically, again, do join the upcoming demos. I'll share some more details on that. I'm not allowed to share my contact number here to the students directly in the demo. That's a
mm.
limitation from the institute. But yeah, I'll share further details about this other advanced course later.
Sure. Thanks.
Okay. So basically, again, once the CX is done, I do ask all the students if they're interested in joining an advanced course.
Mhm.
So depending on that, I basically share the details.
So, for a beginner, you suggest this is the basic course should enroll, right?
As a beginner, again, because in the advanced courses, Karthik, you won't know the fundamentals of what attacks are possible or what tools you are going to use. So in the advanced level course, again, in the learning curve, it's always better to go from the very fundamentals in any domain. And CH provides all those fundamental foundations for you. So that's my recommendation is always going with CH first, okay, and then joining any other advanced course, because you won't be covering those fundamental tools, those fundamental definitions, okay, or the basics, okay, of what vulnerabilities are, what kinds of vulnerabilities are possible, how do you understand the logic of those vulnerabilities. So that is mostly covered in CH itself, Karthik. Okay, and on top of that, you build for advanced tools and advanced techniques in the other courses. So my recommendation, please always again prefer CH. Okay, not telling for again from DURGASOFT's institute perspective, not money perspective, but that is how I learned as well. And I felt a lot easier that way. And there were other students who tried to directly enroll in web application pen testing, and they suffered slightly, and they went back and learned CH first again. So from experience is what I can say.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for the information.
Right. Any other questions, guys? Adarsh, Sudhakar, Karthik, Sanjana, Vishal.
One more question, like what is the difference between IIM and this one CH?
Which one? Sorry.
IIM, Identity Access Management Engineer.
That's
right? IIM
again, that's all
engineer.
about identity. That is not related to pen testing, Sudhakar. That's about you checking an employee, for example. There are different levels of employees, right? So there's an administrator, there's a secondary administrator, there are again levels of employees, different levels. So what user needs to have what level of identity access? Okay, depending on their identity, how much access they are granted, what authorizations do they have? That's all about identity access management. Okay, that is not at all you testing the security of any devices. Okay, so that's a completely different course that is not covered in CEH at all. Okay, that's a separate specialization, a separate thing, which falls in SOC.
Okay, so after completion of this course, we will go as a cloud
I
security
forgot.
engineer. Right?
Yeah, again, as mentioned. Good. Thanks for reminding that, Sudhakar. After completion of this course in India, guys, the most common job roles that you would see is cybersecurity engineer or penetration tester or ethical hacker. Okay. Sometimes it's also commonly known as security administrator also. Okay. But these are the 4 job roles that you would apply for. Okay. And there's a lot of other job roles that are listed out here. Most of these job roles are not even available in India. They are, again, this is an international organization. So some in different countries, these roles are available. But in India, the most important role is the penetration tester thing. Okay, so you learning how to perform security checks, pen test an organization's devices or applications. That's what a cybersecurity person or cybersecurity professional does. So you would always apply for pen tester job rules, Sudhakar. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So I'm currently working as a senior penetration tester in Visakhapatnam in an organization called Symbiosis Technologies. So again, just further details on that. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Any other queries?
Once we complete this course, Shoaib, will we able to do real kind of pen testing on our organizations if they allow?
That's the objective, right, Karthik? Definitely, you will be able to. That's the main purpose of the course, and we'll be learning the same hands-on tools with real-time techniques and real vulnerabilities that exist. How do you check for those vulnerabilities which are actually possible in today's world? No theory. This is not going to be any theory, gimmicky YouTube or Udemy course kind of a thing, Karthik. I'm gonna give you real hands-on experience. You can trust me on that. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Any other questions, guys? Okay. So yeah, that's that. Nothing further. We'll exit the session here. We'll connect back tomorrow for the first class in the course, which is networking fundamentals. It might seem a bit boring if you're already familiar with networking, guys, but that is important to add because not everyone might be from a technical background or they might have forgotten networking concepts. It's important throughout the course, understanding what IP addresses are, what the categories of IPs are. Okay. So that's an important prerequisite. We'll be covering that in the first session tomorrow. Okay. Have a good day. Thanks for joining the session today. We'll connect back tomorrow on same time. Bye-bye. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shoaib.
Bye-bye.